Isn't that great? Ladies and gents, we are now configuring our system. And we have it configured a little bit. Okay, so all those people sitting outside the view of this video, which I mean, I think you, sir, are as far to the wall as good. You, sir, and you, Lori, need to sit this side so that you're in the view. You see what I'm saying? These are, our colors are wrong. I'm not returning the device and buying a new one because we're blue instead of flesh. We get the idea who we are, right? Okay, I like your color of your jacket, as you see there, as shown by this system, the colors are off. Okay, but we're cheap, we're happy with this. It's worked for 5 years, it's gonna continue to work. Now, if the pictures were completely blank, you might think otherwise. Okay, so this is mine, I'm gonna share, right, first of all, I don't know if anybody's joining us electronically. You said there's some people who will be. The second one, okay, so we're doing this. I am going to share, no, I'm gonna share my here. Okay, share this. And so the first thing I'm gonna share is our agenda for today, okay? And so the agenda for today, first of all, remember that today is Martin Luther King's Day. Even though we're doing work on it, we respect the man for what he did. And we remember what happened in '68, the year of turmoil. Same year that RFK passed away. So it was a bad year for things like that. The '60s were a bad year for assassinations. Okay, and so item number one is we had no meeting in December. We had a meeting in November, and right over here is what we came to. We voted not to object. We voted not to object. We voted to support. We voted to come back and voted not to object. And in fact, the COPT Park rezoning is the first item on the agenda tonight. So this is the return. Come 9 days hence, on the 28th of January, we're going to have the State of Sully by Sully Supervisor Kathy Smith. This is directly off of her newsletter, so I figured it's her preferred picture. Therefore, I might as well use that, right? And so we're going to send out the agenda for the membership meeting, and we'll ask people to submit questions if they can't attend in person. That'll always be good. And so tonight we have the COPT Park Center rezoning. They were here in November, as I pointed out, and back then we had an original presentation. Oh, I didn't do that, but that's okay. Let's go back to it was here. And we had the original presentation, original proffers, and the code is that on January 21st, we should have a staff report this 2 days hence. But you see here the original presentation, the original proffers, and now we have a current presentation and current proffers. Lori, do you want to direct me to open things and move things around? Okay, so let me do that. Here's the current presentation. And your PowerPoint presentation doesn't have any moving objects. Okay, good. So I can use the PDF version rather than the other version. Okay. It's downloading. Now you used the POTX version. Oh, it worked. I opened it, but it was just funny that I go. I would have told you otherwise. Years ago, when I was going to grad school, we had a presentation at one of these things here about the county's GIS system. And he included a PowerPoint compressed slides so that you didn't get the whole presentation, it was compressed. Well, I thought this would be a great project for my master's program. And I had to open it up, go to the memory, find where those files had been expanded and steal them from temporary storage. And then I was able to edit. But it was funny because he sent it so you couldn't edit it. They're always workable. Okay. Hey, the teacher liked my presentation.
I used to work for the government.
That was when I was working for CSC. Okay, all right, now we have this here. I'm going to try to go to presentation mode, which means wide screen. I'm going to go down here and we're going to say not full screen, but presentation mode. Isn't there one? Okay, so yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Oh, maybe it's here. Page fit, page width, page fit. Oh, there we go. Okay, so Lori, take it away. There's nobody, yeah, but there's nobody on this at home now, so you don't have to worry about that. And when somebody joins us, then we'll use that.
Good evening, I am Lori Greenleaf. Tonight, Thomas Paz from COPT Properties, who's the owner of the property, and Mike Borkowski from Wells and Associates. We were
Where's she from?
Wells and Associates, transportation. As Jeff mentioned, we were before you in November. We are back to update you in preparation for our Planning Commission and Board of Supervisors hearings, which are February 4th and February 17th, respectively.
No, go ahead. I just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. Next slide.
As a reminder, the property is located in Westfield. It is currently zoned I3, 64.28 acres, and it is, the office user is a no government tenant. The application is a rezoning to the R4 district and special exception to allow an FAR 0.69 on property in order to facilitate construction of future office space for this same existing federal tenant.
Now, is this the one where I showed up at the plan amendment and accused them of secrecy?
Top secrecy.
Well, no, the county had published the plan amendment in 2023 and had the public hearing in October and had made no further mention of that event. And I accused them, I said, it's taking you 2 years to do this. What did you change and how come you haven't informed us? Nothing's changed. I said, so why did it take 2 years to do that? And I said, as far as we were concerned, when you have 2 years between your public hearing and your event, that's too long. You need to re-engage us to at least remind us that nothing had changed. Because otherwise, my assumption was all this was new and we were being left out of the cold.
I can give you the answer.
Please, go ahead.
VDOT's review of a lot of back and forth changes at VDOT. And it was difficult to get comments out of them. So that really was different. But yeah, the plan amendment has gone through the process, was approved. Slide. What's important to this? The existing approvals on the property are part of the story here. There was a special exception approved in 2017. The property for additional height and additional square footage. This graphic shows you in green. Those are today the existing buildings. The ones on the far right were part of the special exception, also part of the special exception. It's the red, which is a building, and blue, which is a parking garage. So that was all part of the original approval for a little over 1.4 million square feet of office. So our proposal is to add approximately 500,000 square feet to that. Slide.
That include the parking garage, Maureen?
No. That's
So here's the original parking garage. The new one, it looks like it's a bigger parking garage.
right. Exception approval, building and the parking garage. The building is in the same location. Basically, the site layout is not all that different than special exception approval. Building has a different footprint. Yes, now the garage looks like a boomerang. It does sit on existing surface parking. It's not taking up, use that leg of it, it's not taking up any space. It's parking lot. So again, an additional 500,000 square feet over that which was previously approved. Next slide. There are significant pedestrian improvements which will be phased in as the buildings are built. The picture here is that is the existing trail along Stonecroft. That is going to be expanded from its existing 5 feet to an 8-foot trail. We are going to try to plant street trees. Depends on what utilities are in there, but we've been working with staff on. Other pedestrian improvements are crosswalks. Actually, going to flip to the next slide.
As I used to walk this trail around Conference Center Drive, I remember that this whole oblong shaped object had sidewalks, if I'm not mistaken, almost all the way around it, but not all the way around it.
It does have it all.
Does now.
So this shows you the intersection of Stonecroft and Conference Center and Stonecroft and Lee. Additional crosswalks, additional pathways across the. For the shown in red. It's basically to match what's there, to complete what's there, I should say. As well as pedestrian signals placed in. Next slide. There are also other significant transportation improvements. TDM is additional left turn lane from Stonecroft onto Conference Center Drive that's going to be put in.
Well, there's two of them. So it's the north one or the south one?
Traveling.
Because Conference Center Drive is a big U, Paul. So when you say that, there are two Stonecroft. Yeah, that's it. Okay. That's it. Where CSC and that, those other groups are, those buildings right on that corner there.
There's also an additional crosswalk connection. Southern part of Conference Center Drive that will connect this property to the bus shelter that actually put in a Parkstone application several years ago. They built a bus shelter there so there'd be a crosswalk to connect. That was a requested plan commission back in planning and stage. We have great building commitments, EV charging, stormwater measures, art around several drive, and park authority contributions for non-residential and so next. The architecture is the same, which would be important change in that. We did have you did have a couple questions on stacking and on staggered arrival time. So Mike did a gate analysis, queuing analysis based on 2 incoming lanes through turnstiles of gates. And based on the trip gem that was actually counted for this site and the time it takes the cars to get through that area, we need about 150 feet of stacking. This shows 200 feet of stacking. There's also a stop gap where there's a 3rd lane that could be opened up if there was ever an issue. So it was the study itself was actually yeah. Yeah, here's that
outside.
Yeah, this outside.
So the traffic comes in this way and goes through a secure gate right over here.
There's 3 lanes out there for this outside. The 2 other lanes, see them. Those are really, since they're regular show up every day, you really don't have the kind of delay that you would want. High security, because we're safe for you. So
What percentage of your visitors are visitors? I mean, what percentage of the people who show up on a daily basis are not permanent employees?
I think the number is it's also parking. And here we're this was pretty.
yeah, couple quick things about that. I'm with Federal Highway Minister. It's over the Verizon Center. So, thanks. But There are two primary entrances in the whole complex, which have automatic gates. I have gates. They work smoothly, sometimes I think. I think overall, it looks like it might be but I think that one of the issues in come up is how reliable are these electronic systems. This reminds me a little bit of the entrance into the Discovery complex, like Wall Road, Parkway, down 28. Same type of concept there, predominantly staff. Maybe put some things that will work. I have observed backups from the gate or distance from here back onto the area space parking. So I think that we have to coordinate. I hope there was a signalized intersection there at Conference Center Drive. And question, is it not?
It is unsafe.
It is not.
No, there's really no opposing traffic out there. One thing I have noticed is that within the lanes, they have their, sort of standards that they move around, stanchion standards, and I think they sort of shift them back and forth. So actually go further site where there's more room that might see here. That distance is really just from the gate to where basically the roundabout is. And I think what happens is, at least the way I've seen it is, they'll put in stanchion things depending on the time. That's their used to doing it, so they sort of move them, sometimes they have the one, that's all they need. Sometimes they have both lanes open, I've seen it sort of both ways. But since they're regular employees, you're right, sometimes, you know, things that don't work, but it's not what I've seen with them. It's the way they sort of vary.
Is this both the entry and exit point or just an entry point only?
It's entry and exit. So
How do you exit?
two
Just
top
come and make that. Come through that control point. Get the control point. Only got a single lane exiting.
They do it today.
How many people? What's their mind?
I think the peak hour volume is 600-ish.
And you're looking to increase that to where it's. maybe-
No, that's with the build out. It's lower today, but that's with the build out. So I think, you know, we looked at it and simulated how the intersection would work. Bring out also those gates sort of. They're used to that flow,
But you're showing on there, if I'm reading that graphic correctly. Got multiple lanes coming in, narrowed down, and you have like 2 lanes coming in areas. The exit appears to be just a single lane.
Those go out, then there's two, and then there's
Right,
right.
you're right, you're right. It's just one, it widens to 2, and it spreads out. But that 1 lane section, what happens if there's a flat tire leak? Or no accident?
There are 3 other access points to this site.
Okay.
One is gate, side station. One has gates to this. The others are deliveries. So there is a release valve.
There's security guards or just, dudes?
there's
24 hours?
High security.
You know, this is as high a security the system is when you're at the Marriott, when you go to your Google Maps, this is, are you on the Marriott, or are you at the FBI offices? So whether or not you are or not, Google knows.
That one, that's. There it is, it's around the corner.
Farther down.
You have a slide. You got to notice.
Here it is, right over here.
See access.
That would be for emergency purposes only. Yeah, and over here. Because it looks like they're secure. Oh, we have a visitor. Thanks for joining us. Can you hear us as we speak?
Yes,
Turn your mute off. And I gotta turn my mute off. Hold on, because I can't, because I have a soundtrack filled. Hold on.
Just.
All right, so I gotta unmute myself. All right. Okay, all right, so. Okay, good enough then, but I just was checking. All right, so let's go up this way.
Back up there. Last time we talked, I had asked a question about stacking, and the importance of like stacking Constance Drive and the working terms.
Well, so that's part of the sort we did out there, so we just have that, the other direction on Drive. Used out there, so those folks can just, they flow in and there's really no delay out there. Yeah, there's really no delay out there. I think they just have the system down really well, honestly, and these folks know what they're doing. It seems to work, great. It's so much different than sort of the variable blue, like you mentioned, over by the food bar, hazy. I've seen that same thing where you have one hitch out there and you're kind of stuck. I think the difference that I've seen here again is they can meter and how they, use it. So they'll have the ability to do that as the site, ramps itself up.
He needs to come in. If you're speaking and you can see the picture, you need to be in the picture if you're speaking, okay? So when you were speaking, you were outside the picture, you need to be in the picture. Okay, understand? Not just for everybody's sake, if you're gonna speak, be in the picture. And in your case, I'm gonna turn the camera. See?
All right, well, okay. I'll just conclude with, as you know, the proliferation of residential conversions in Westfield. I think it's refreshing to see the need for office, the response to that need. I think this is good for Westfield Business Park and it's good for the county. And we're happy to answer any other questions.
go ahead. Mike, how many additional trips will the FAR produce?
So over the FAR that's approved.
Yeah.
So it's about the difference between the comp plan approval and what's being added is 387 AM, 340 PM peak hour trips. That's above that's just the addition. I'm sorry about that out there. It is partly developed. Yes, yeah. There's what's out there today is section. I want to say it's about, no. About 925 is out there today. The comp plan is, just in round numbers, 1.4. And then the proposed is about 1.92.
50% increase.
So, yeah, it's about the same for the comp plan and that addition. What's out there?
How many additional parking spaces? will there?
Garage has 327. I'm sorry. The proposed parking structure, 2,766 spaces. Right now, existing is about 2,400.
So no, we're not 300. How many,
Total spaces will be 5,200.
how many electric charging stations?
Right, I don't know if there's any right now. We're proposing 30, which is a 2% of the addition square footage.
And then you have them all in the same place dispersed throughout the garage.
They will not be in the garage, they will be on the surface.
Outside,
Yeah, there's a concern about protecting the garage and,
This is a fire concern.
Yeah.
okay, because I have seen many garages with those in the interior rather than outside. Okay, just asking. Okay. Any other questions? I noticed,
I just have one question. I didn't have a concern about this. An FAR, I didn't think would really impact anybody with what's around it. But nearby, a little bit off the map, whatever is going on now with Westfield Boulevard going over 28 and the intersections on either side of people coming off 28, certain times of day, that doesn't work. I don't know if it's, level F or whatever it is, but you cannot be, you have to get let in to merge and things. And what I didn't hear the first time, I didn't really understand, and maybe this figured out with the VDOT thing, is what does this increase do to that situation, which is, I think, I don't know if it's level F, but I assume it is. It doesn't work now, and I assume this will bring a little more traffic into that. Is that something that was reviewed with VDOT? And I know you're doing some off-site pedestrian business. Is anything going to ever happen to move that along?
Yes, I think we, this was Westfields and Stonecroft, right? Which it's kind of the southernmost intersection there. And I think I think you mentioned it last time, and I think we did talk about it. That intersection, it's overall level service D, but it has lots of movements that are certainly at their capacity, which being one intersection outside of the interchange, it's handling some serious flow off the interchange because it's not metered, right? It's free flow.
And some people crossing 28 over the top too.
Yeah, and I think there are, free flow lanes out there. Have their own lane, if you will, but there is some mixing. And that mixing is what I think really creates sort of backup there. What we suggested was that we would look at some of the timing changes there, because that helps reduce some of those critical movements where the queue is the problem. We went back and forth over the last year or so, with VDOT and the county, talking about what can we do at certain intersections? Can we manage the timings a little bit better, because queuing is really a concern there. And, we got it pretty close to where it would be without any of the redevelopment. So, the overall delay, but, you still have those movements that, are going to continue to fail. And I think, again, it's just a function of it's right by the interchange.
Let me ask it this way. Whatever mitigation you're discussing or suggesting about changing the timing of things, what's the overall effect of this intensification on either that intersection or that little stretch of Westfield? Are we making it worse than it already is? And I'll leave it at that. Is this making that worse?
Yeah, I mean, it does add traffic to that intersection on some of the critical movements there.
But if I understood Mike correctly, the timing that they studied is able to erase that addition.
It helps bring it back. It helps reduce the overall delay of it. But again, part of that is, the incremental increase that you have under what we call background conditions. So that's with the comp plan approval as it is today. So you do have some increases in delay, but the idea is that manage it a little bit better as best you can, because there are really not any sort of straightforward lane improvements you can really make out there. You're limited by the bridges. You have free flow movements on pretty much all the approaches there.
And that was one of the questions about what visible changes.
In terms of delays, if someone is coming down 28 from the airport and they take the West Hills Boulevard exit to go into wherever they're going, a lot of people do that. How much more are they delayed getting through the bottleneck?
So let's see, that's
Southbound 28 to West Hills Boulevard.
So in the morning, you go north, right? So it's right in, right out. Come off the exit, you're coming southbound on 28. Get on the Westfield interchange, you're just gonna do a right turn to go right this complex. Now coming back, you're making a left to get on 28, and that backs up. My observations, because I go to the interchange every day, it may last an hour. No, I'm not sure it lasts an hour. But the backup is kind of, but it's nothing compared to what that backup went past Wiggins. Like it was traffic jam for probably 2 hours. Yes, it's not perfect.
I never see it in the morning, but I thought,
Yeah.
coming.
Back up to. Yeah.
But if this, it would do to slow down. You need. Isn't much, maybe the people coming out, they have to wait for the light anyway. Yes.
Yeah,
But
the left, I mean, it will back up
there's
to.
a calculation for that, something.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're talking about the sort of the currents, you're saying coming down Stonecroft and turning on to Westfields. Yeah, that left. Hang on for a second.
In the afternoon, you can back up past here. Like, everybody's trying to make a run. Very few people make a run.
Yeah, the other issue is when you're work times, there are staggered work times.
They probably have flex hours.
And the issue is that this local process and these processes can't really dictate
Yeah.
to the federal government that, but there are staggered times of arriving.
Well, my experience is, it seems like the biggest issue to people coming off 28, trying to make a left. And see on
The other way.
what's the other way?
You gotta get over 3 lanes.
Yeah, there's a lot of merging. Is actually next to you. I come off, like if I know it's really backed up, I can't go straight. So you come up this interchange, make a U, and then go down to the interchange and make a right. When I know I cannot merge, there's no way I'm gonna go merge without putting my life still on car.
I don't know, we're involved with one of the applications. Park area. There are potentially there could be some improvements.
There's an alternative over Will. All, Will. Yeah, it's a Will.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go to 50, you know. Man, and that's another thing is Westfield High School, you got 40 buses. 20 go one way, 20 go the other way. You see those buses in the morning, it's crazy. Now, if they build, assuming they build the West High School, they're gonna drop their population to like 500 students, I think, roughly. So next year, they're hopefully going to let the buses off of the roads because they're pushed north. So there are some other changes going on here.
We're giving you enough time, like.
Well, I mean, we do add a couple seconds to that movement when we get to that future condition, which is that eastbound left. But it's not major yet. And I think the shifting in the timings is one of the things we tried to look at is, can we shift we suggested a 5-second shift for some of these movements. And even that makes a big difference when you're talking about being close to capacity of this intersection. Challenge here. For the living, most of our lives. Know that, got a plus and minus. Go in there. What you assume is going to happen may or may not actually. But that's why the signal timing adjustments. Say, I need to add another 5 or 10 seconds for my left turn cycle. Maybe I could do that. Maybe have a double or triple lag. Give a single lag. That's sort of a challenge. I think it's also something to perhaps that might have been one of the reasons delays in getting this review. We don't know. They were going to look at maybe a broader area. They typically would. Maybe the county might have been doing that. If not, personal opinion, I think they should have.
Yeah, well, they went all the way up to Lee and Braddock. It was a pretty wide area.
Well, to the west, you look at it and say, well, you're dealing with a major center of activity in Western Fairfax County for the basic street system. What's there built today? A little bit, they didn't build. So we just try to put more development in there that generates more traffic. So you're going to see some issues that exist today that may never get resolved. Okay, that's kind of the reality if you believe in urbanization in Fairfax County.
2 seconds or 5 seconds, I'm not. It's 5 more minutes or something. Gotta be some thing. I avoid that.
No,
I go 50 Pleasant Valley Road.
in the afternoon, making a left, it will back up all the way to system. Because they're really trying to make it left. Like it's pretty stacked.
Well, even coming in here tonight, before it was 10 minutes to 7 or whatever, it was backed up from Westfield Boulevard almost to this entrance. And I don't know why, unless there was some special thing with people.
It varies, like, I go to this thing every day, because I live in this whole station. And, like, there, sometimes you gotta go, why is this so backed up? Someone had a late niche,
Additional 3,000 residential units. Supposed to be office space. Not one increase, one square inch increase. But theoretically, these people who are coming home from work are going in the opposite direction, the people who are leaving. And therefore, you don't have the same unidirectional. Everybody's not leaving COP to go out. Some of these residents are coming back where they live. You have a more equal flow.
yeah, that's right. I mean, they're down with the residential built in, business park. The flows are so much different, where it's, 90% of it flowed out, 90% of it flowed in, except for security guards.
Maybe that's why it's gotten better.
Yes, yeah.
Are we ready to vote? Is there any comments on this, or do we feel that we can approve this?
No objections.
All right, no objections.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank
All
you
right,
very
all
much.
right, rotate, and give you 2 minutes to reconvene a new huddle, and then you're going to team come in.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. All we need is,
Fairfax County.
is get that sidewalk from the Marriott from here squared away. Because from this location north to the Marriott Hotel, the sidewalk ends right at the cross of the creek. So, Lori, are all your support going to be online? Russ? Somebody else?
Yes, Russ.
Russ is on. Good to see
Hi,
you.
guys. Let's just I've been a little under the weather and I'm still in recovery mode, so we'll let Lori handle the heavy lifting.
Can you hear our conversation where you are?
Yes.
Want to make sure we can hear you loud and square, so that works out well as well.
Yeah, I heard the last presentation. Hey, Mike Workowski, how are you? I heard the last one very, very well. Audio is surprisingly good.
That's good. All right, so I'm going to open up the other presentation. I'm going to close the one that we have here. Hold on. This document, we're going to close this document, this document, this document. Now we're going to go to the Ellipse PCA, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to look at the PDF. 1 second.
Yeah.
It's not found. So let's find out what the problem is. I have it on a computer. So it's not a problem. It's just my.
I did bring hard copies.
Oh, no, it's not this. I will find it. It takes me a little while, but it's not going to be a problem. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to here. Oh, my. They won't allow you to connect from this. So 1 second. Then I can fix that why that's display. All right, so in here. Let's see. In my magic wand, no, we have the proper dongles. We are dongled sufficiently. So now, we work on here, and let's look to see if that shows up. Second. Did I turn that? Let me turn it back on. Presentation action. It's on, Jeff.
There's-
Is it? Okay. All right, good. So now we're moving in the right direction. So the next thing I'm gonna do is go here. Go to files. Sully district. But. Here, and now we're looking for not the COP, but the Eclipse PDF, right?
Ellipse, yep, next one down. Oh,
This one?
yes.
Okay, so now I have this, but the next thing I have to do is join the meeting from my machine. That's it, 1 second. We will work around this. I'll need that. Here. So district. This. Okay. And I'll show the PDF.
Mute myself.
Okay. We heard you in the mic. Well, we heard Ross. That's who was saying he was going to mute. We start machine just the light. Right. Let's find out. You know, I always like to point out our VHS machine. It does. I mean, that's the fun part. So somebody has a VHS tape, right? All right, there we go. All right, so connected to the device. Now we should.
If I had to do this, we can sit
Okay,
here
go
for
ahead in the
5
meantime. I will. Ridiculous. I'm here to go out. Okay, in any case, you know, it's in here. Oh, I know what the problem is. I've got the cop in this, and this is not cop.
I think we need to buy, have some more done.
More dongles. That's the answer to any question you might have is what's the proper dongle for the situation? When you learn that, you cry, because every time Apple has a new computer, or even Windows sometimes goes through USB B to C, I cry.
I remember when we could do meetings without the equipment.
Yes, people would hand out hundreds of sheets of paper at the same time, right? Yeah, and I still have those in the basement of my house.
There's still an easel and. Yeah, okay.
There is an easel, but no, okay, so let's continue doing this. In the meantime, while you talk, I will try. Oh, you said you have a soft copy or hard copy? Okay, well, let's work on that in the meantime, but all right, let's talk.
This application is the Ellipse, which is the Long and Foster property at the corner of Willard, 28 Willard and Lee. It came through a rezoning in 21 that was approved. 37.34 acres. It was approved for PDC zoning. It was a companion rezoning with Albemarle Point, which is the kind of flex industrial commercial next door. Planned together, commercial, residential. Approved for 374 units. It's beautiful. I drove through there. If you drive Lee Road, you can see it. There's 2 over 2 units. There's different sized townhouses in their condominium flats. The proposal is to add an option in one of the land. So out of the 374 units, there are only like 3 or 4 sticks of townhouses that are not completed yet. They're either completed, some are, a lot are occupied, and all have Christmas decorations up. So it is a thriving community already, but there's one land end that was approved for 10 condominium units on the 2nd floor and some retail up to 9,000 square feet of retail. With the development.
Keep going. I'm gonna play with this.
So there was some concern that it might not be viable. So we did build in some proper wording that said there was an option for that retail to become residential, if it could not be marketed. So what this, and that was, built into the agreement. What this request is to add an option for 16 townhomes in that same stick. So instead of the 10 condominium flats and hotel, we will an option for 16 townhomes.
That would replace it with retail.
The trip generation's actually a little bit less, fairly neutral, a little bit less. We've gone through staff review, there's really no concerns. They wanted some more street trees along an existing street, so we're putting the street trees in. We are, Russ, who I don't know, there he is.
Yes, yes.
Yes, from Buchanan Partners. As you said, he's under the weather and attending virtually. They have agreed the additional 6 units basically will require 1 more ADU unit, but they have offered an additional 3 WDU units at 80% in line, AMI. So that's not recommended or not required by the county. That's something that's being done.
Over and above.
Over and above, right? And we did try to market this, talk to many builders, large and small, they wanted to build this type of condominium for retail builders. So not a viable alternative. So again, this is an option. Really, if we can get it up, that the only change is to proper 3, which outlines what can be developed. Things like open space, we were way over on the urban parks, an acre some over. Parks were way over on open space. I think 15% is required, we have 6%. There's no additional impervious surface. It's just the same, basically the same layout. We're doing some little modifications to there's a lot of community parks in here, park spaces. We're adding some greenery because the park space that was adjacent to the retail was going to be like outdoor tables. So it won't necessarily be that, where it's going to be more green. So there's more trees added there.
What's the difference in the number of parking spaces between residential?
That's a good question. I think, there's head-in parking. These will front on a street that connects to Albemarle. It's through one of the required interparcel connections. And there is head-in parking there that was for the retail already built. So it's actually side access.
We're over parked.
And
We're technically over parked because we parked for the retail parking ratio, but it's already built. So,
Can you give us some numbers?
I will. So total spaces on site is 878. Retail had required 22 spaces.
We have 8 units. What is the county required for you?
6 additional units. at 2.7 per unit.
Each one of the additional units does have its own garage and its own driveway.
That's 44 spaces, 16.
6 feet, there's 6 spaces.
There's some.
Well,
You have to bring it up. Follow me there. Can't find file. So it's file on file. At the very top right one. Your link or row up the top, unbroken.
and the colored diagram basically shows you the different types of units, and the purple bluish are the ones that are not built yet. So pretty much built out except for the one area. The area we're talking about is in that red outline. The second sheet, this one, or the next sheet, shows you what was proposed is on the left, which is the 10 units with retail below and what's up to better. Okay. On the right are the 16. Oops.
Are they,
No, it's regular.
Okay, ladies and gents,
Okay.
much to my chagrin, I found it.
All right, let's go to
I understand, but-
5. Slide 5.
Presentation mode. All right, so 1, 2, all right, so where do you want to go now?
5,
2,
2,
3,
3,
4,
4,
5.
5. Okay. This basically is the proffer. And it's kind of, I already told you what's in here. The amount of open space, park will not decrease. The units will be similar architecturally to those that are existing. They'll be 16 foot wide. The WD, 3 WDUs at 80% AMI. Obviously, they have to amend the site plan that's already been approved. There are also there were several transportation improvements, lengthening the left turn lane from Lee onto Willard, the trail across the front. Those have all been, trail is pretty much completed. At the end of this development, they'll complete the rest of it. The left turn lane is in. There are, bike parking is in. The bus stop contribution was a proffer that's been made. Basically, the existing proffers have been satisfied as far as transportation, and this is not going to affect them at all. We do have hearings that are scheduled for February and March. I'm sorry, March and April. So we can, if we need to, we can come back here next month if you all have questions that we can't answer tonight.
So
That's kind of where we are.
this is, on this chart here, adding as an option.
So the left are the 10 units that were approved.
Right.
The right are the 16 townhomes that you'd like to add as an option.
What will make you determine whether the option is placed?
Basically, we didn't want to delete the 10 units because we do have them approved, but I think the townhouses will be built because of the marketing that's already been done on the condos, and there's just not a
People
builder.
don't want condos in one town?
The builders, because of the construction type and the liability and the potential unviability, if that's a word, of the retail, they've talked to small and large builders and nobody wants to.
So you're gonna have commercial underneath.
Yeah, these will just be townhouses.
Okay, and the left add commercial in the.
They did.
Yeah.
The left did. The left
The left one
at
did.
first floor retail.
Okay, almost like they talked about opposite, discovering
discovered.
where we are.
Yeah, which is actually the thought. Reached out, nobody is interested in doing that type of development, retail, residential on top at this specific site. I might suggest that you ask along with that, hey, there's a piece of land a little bit further north, Centerville Road and Wall Road, that is, what is it, 30 acres? Hold on. It has been shown since the project was first approved
20 years ago.
years ago and mixed commercial / residential. They went through a few opportunities, maybe might have been Wirewood, might have been Florence. Could never get people to go into the concept of a larger scale retail. But you look around a lot over the region, find more and more of these things starting to pop up. So, well, maybe times might be better at this point in time. But we have heard proposal one time say, well, since we can't seem to get any retail in there, it has to get it converted all into residential. That in and of itself. That was, so they're adamantly by the county staff.
Plan amendment process, Albemarle. Building. I remember the square footage, I think it was 7,500 square feet was built. Coffee shop or something like that, so there's still available space for some type of commercial. Well, there is commercial.
But there's space that nobody seems to want.
Well, not in this, no, not in this.
Any other questions or comments? Go ahead.
Oh, if John was, I look, John.
We do have. It's already in there.
Correct. One side has driveways, the other side has parking space. They don't have a yard either way.
Yeah, here's the alley.
Like an alley.
Right, so these are the garages in the back.
Yeah.
We do have a small front yard.
Oh, I thought those were the parking spaces that were built.
No, these are just outside of that red line. There is a small front yard and
Okay.
a sidewalk. Staff actually had us move that sidewalk closer to the building so that there could be some relief between the sidewalk and the parking spaces. So there will be, that's where the street trees will be, so you're not
Okay.
walking right next.
Is the backyard sufficient where the parking is? Not backyard, but the back parking area sufficient for vehicles to make turns or indeed? Then we had a development in another location, I think it was Renaissance, so where the people could not turn their cars in if they were too big. Trying to make the turn into their apartment, their house, or parking garage, there wasn't enough room to turn the car in. If you had
If you made a 90-degree turn from the aisle to the garage, you could do it with one car, but two cars, it was too tight. You had to do a 3-point, 5-point kind of thing to get your car far enough over. And sometimes on these narrow alleys, I mean, that's, you pull all the way over to the other side and swing wide, maybe you can't. I think it's going to depend on how wide the aisle is, and also how wide the garage is. There have been places, and I guess you know that width of the garage, I mean, it's calculated as 2 cars, but it's really functionally 1, depending on what you have. And then, so then people will put 1 car in the garage and then 1 car in the, whatever the common spaces were. And then there's functionally less parking than what it gets approved, counting the garage as 2 spaces or whatever. And then it's really not.
They gave
It's a
enough room
dimensional.
that theoretically, 2 cars, they couldn't get out of the cars instead of red.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like a whole other thing. Yeah, you can fit a car in a parking space, but you open the door and it goes over the paint stripe. If you're pulling in and there's a wall,
Yeah.
you can't open the door.
I mean, I guess the good news in this case is we've got, all of these head-end parking, again, that was for the retail. That will lead right to these people. Now, it's not a garage, but it will lead right to their front door.
How wide are they?
I think are they all 16, Russ?
Yes, these are all 16-foot units. They each have a driveway, and they are exactly the same dimensions and driveway dimensions as the other 16-foot units that have been built in the project.
Yeah, those are gonna have to be 1 car garage. Because with the thickness of this wall, it's never get cars.
Are they being sold as a 1-car garage?
Yeah, in a 16-foot townhouse, you can only fit a 1-car garage. And so every 16-foot unit has a 1-car garage and a 1-car driveway, plus sufficient on-site parking to meet parking requirements and guest parking. The majority of the project is built out, as Lori said earlier, and it seems to be doing very well.
Are the driveways long enough to park a car without sticking into the aisle?
Yes, the condominium, the residential condominium over retail buildings that were there were deeper, 60-foot depth. The townhouse units will only have 40 feet depth. So that's where Lori had noted that we have additional green space being created with this change in unit type.
If someone parks their car in the driveway, the back of the car is not going to stick out into the aisle.
No,
Is that right?
What's the length of the driveway then? Yeah.
20 plus feet.
All?
no, they're the same length as the ones that have been approved elsewhere in the project. I believe it's 19 feet, but I'm not 100% sure. We just emulated exactly what's already been approved and built.
So it's in conformance with the developing urbanized nature of Fairfax.
Your Escalade may not.
If that was for me, I couldn't.
Any other comments, questions? We want to say no objection.
I'll make a motion that we should, no objection.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Hey, no? Okay, Lori, thank you for being a 2 for 2
Yeah,
tonight.
I know. Thanks, Russ.
Thank you, guys. Sorry I couldn't be there. Maybe next time.
If you're not feeling good, just finish going to work.
Yeah. All right. Thanks again.
So hold on, before we go for the night, some items. This is what we show as the schedule for the rest of the year, okay? We have Kathy Smith coming in 9 days. We're going to jointly sponsor the town hall and budgets on the 4th of March. And so next month is open if we have it, right? We're going to do in May the general summer report. And this year we have, instead of Dave, we'll have Gretchen. Gretchen Bolivar. She won the election for delegate filling Dave's slot. He got appointed to Commonwealth Secretary of Environmental Issues. He was picked by Gretchen Abigail to be a secretary of fire. And then they had a runoff of Republican and Gretchen killed this. Wife, or his wife. Okay? And I thank you so much, Laura. And then we have, we're gonna try to do a congressional legislative night on the September. But as you can see here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nights open for the rest of the season. Anybody have some suggestions?
If you want the Senate task force guys to come back,
Yes.
we're willing to do that.
When can you get a hold the date? So we have February, we have April, and we have June. We have the even months of the first 6 months of the year.
Fine.
Okay, so that would work, and if he wants February, we'll put him in February, right? And we go from here, and these 6 things I found a place you might be interested. Kathy Smith is searching for volunteers for the backs. We have the waste management is looking for customer input, and you can provide input until March 15th. Here's some links. This Fairfax Federation is looking for citizen of the year. We have 2 of them right with us. Lewis, you're distinguished between two separate citizens of the year.
Vote between two storms.
Okay? All right.
All
right. In any case, that will be the nominations are accepted until 31 January 2025. Okay.
That's how much in February.
The closing of the nominations is the end of this month. Yeah, but you got 2 weeks, a week and a half. That's you should be able. Okay. And all right, if you want the area plans are now available on Encode. The Space Shuttle Ship Discovery will remain in Virginia as far as we can. All right, and they had some meetings on the school board boundaries. So if you're interested in that, there are links here. We have now tomorrow, Tuesday, January 20th, they're going to have the ALU amendment. So you need to call up and get on there. All right. There's a unified sanitation district, and that's going to happen on January 24th. So we have Tuesday night the ALUs, the USDs on the Wednesday the 21st. If you're interested, on January 22nd during the day, there's the Sully Senior Safety Seminar, the 4S. Say that fast, right? Next month, as I said, we have TBD, and then we have the Northern Virginia Road Tech. Novak is acquiring the Cub Run facility, and we're going to well, in fact, we don't need to come back. We'll tell that to Lori. We approved it as it was. There's no need for her to come back. All right. So right now we only have the Novak approach. You might be aware, I sent a message out earlier this week to the CYA and the SY, Southwest Youth Association. I saw the article in this weekend's paper about high-cost citizen rec sports of the communities, and I spiked to Michael, who's head of CYA, to get back to me. And he says, it's not like it used to be when we used to do it, where a lot of people volunteered and did work. Nowadays, people are really more willing to toss cash than they are to do their back work. And he says, back in the old days, before the internet, you made a phone call and you got a call back the next day, you might be happy. Now, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you made a call, an email, you'd be happy to go back tomorrow. Now, people want an email same day, within 4 hours. And he says, so we need staff. We have to hire people. And he says, and I told him how when I was doing this stuff, I lay out the fields and using the square root of 1 of 2, I could figure out if my corner is square. If this is 100 feet, this is 100 feet, this had to be 141.2 feet, whatever it was, but that made me square. Since nowadays we have a machine, you put it in a corner, you tell it which way to go, and it uses GPS to draw the rectangle absolutely square. He says that costs a lot of money. He says, exactly. We don't have the staff of people. We don't have the math skills like you did. So that's the point, you know. And he says he's working with the the state legislature on this issue, but the problem is the lack of volunteers. And we can sympathize with that because We are the old guys, the old guard, right?
It's a school system.
But I mean, I asked him that question, if there's anything, so he gave me a nice long response. But the net result is, they had the volunteers they had 20, 30 years ago, things would cost so much. They don't. Okay? Okay, so going back to this, we have a tentative, what else do we want to do with some other dates we can search for? What else? Last year we had the police station. We want the fire and emergency services. What other county agency do you want for those?
There's actually people that come here and talk to us about that stupid USB.
Well, we could do that. Remember, those two events are happening Tuesday. The ALUs is tomorrow and the USPD is.
That's for vendors only on the 21st.
I thought something, I thought it was February 3rd.
Well, the third one you have is for the HOAs.
Okay, hold on here.
And residential. It's in there.
Okay, yeah, that's the waste collectors on Wednesday. The county with the HOAs is February 3rd. So,
They want fire department, even in the fire. So my sense is, I mean, they are using the drones now. Making much less. I think it's a cat in a tree. But, I mean, if it's serious, they will launch a drone also just for safety, protection of officers. Someone has a weapon or something. Not normally they talked to us a few years ago,
yeah,
but it sounds like it's really mature.
so that's the police and not the fire department.
Yeah, it's a police department. I don't know if the UAB.
All right, so,
But I think the fire department would be good, be interesting. Like, yeah, emergency services, house change, new technology.
okay, so I'm gonna reserve for you, Jay, the sensible guy. Tell me the date that he picks, and then we'll arrange the other one on it. All right, so that's two of the four first half of the year. We have February, we have April, we also have a June date that we go. Did anybody think of anything else that we can? I mean, we could, hold something. We had SEMA this fall. We've got Smith, Kathy coming January. We had the Economic Development Agency. We had the Housing and Redevelopment Agency. What other group or organization? Ask our congressman. We can ask Walker Sheriff if you'd like to. We need all of us here. What?
They're whatever.
I'm not familiar with all the agencies. Who handles the homeless?
Excuse me?
The homeless.
Well,
They just came in, but it talks about for like doing.
isn't it health and human services would they be the ones? The redevelopment agency builds the housing, but the home. Human services actually puts them in.
What about the people in the street?
Okay, so.
Yeah, like who is like? I'd like to know what are the trends. It's one.
Where's that going? It's supposed to go west on road. What's
I mean, but just like, is it getting worse? Is it getting better? Are the services being cut? Are services expanding? Are people taking advantage? I can think about 10 questions. Are they taking advantage of services or not? I heard like Prince William made a requirement that they give a job application. Like they're like, you go get a job. Like here's the job application. We will help you fill it out. I mean, like I think Prince William changed their policy. So I'm just like, I got a lot of questions about the homeless home. There are changes like, look, there's one right down here. Is it better or worse getting a situation with the homeless?
No, listen, you can't force a homeless guy to go to a shelter.
Yeah, I know, it's a volunteer.
Somebody's going to show up. So.
Yeah.
All right, so I have Sentinel Task Force, Emergency Services, and Fire Protect, Emergency and Fire Services, Homelessness, and the Congress. And so I'm going to work those four out. And if we do the congressman, we'll ask Walker Short and What do you, that other guy's got more seniority than Walkinshaw.
Serbiarium or something. I thought it was his name.
What's that?
It's like Serbiarium.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But my point is, he's more senior than Walkinshaw.
Yeah.
So you can't pick a new guy. He's the older. Yeah, yeah. So the 10th is where Virginia Wright is, and the 11th is usually most of them.
Yeah, now, it's just Westfield businesses.
Okay, hold on.
When was the last time we had them in? What-
I'll get to Bill. Bill Wright is his name?
You know what, if I remember correctly,
We book each.
part of the deal with all this, the residential was, they're gonna improve the trails. They're gonna put like linear parks in the trails and stuff, and they showed us all kinds of really cool graphics. This is like 8 years ago, this was before COVID. And I'm like, what is the status of all this? They filled in most of the base. And even that stupid residential thing across from Westville High School with the power.
Yeah, with the power. Okay, so Westfield's Business Owners Association, Federal Task Force Emergency and Fire Services.
I don't think we've had it in since before COVID. It's been a long. At least what I heard.
Here we want to invite somebody from Dulles Airport.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be interesting with this status.
That guy's name? Michael Hooper.
Yeah,
Oh, and what's happening? Trump is tearing down the airport and rebuilding.
He's making, what he wants to do is get rid of all those people movements.
and they, but there is, but the problem is there's a plan to expand. Like, it's only like $5 billion. Yeah, and they gotta drill a tunnel, that doesn't take like next week. I mean, I don't think the president understands, like, there is a plan. It's a 10-year plan, it's not 6 months.
I would, so, Jim, I would say there are many things, it seems like things. Denmark is our ally, not, never mind. I don't think it's
We can always emphasize, but on the occupation.
But I agree that dollars are given at dollars. Like, what's the status of all this stuff? The 5th runway.
It's funny, 100 years ago, when we bought the Virgin Islands, we signed an agreement with Denmark, that, yeah, barely, agreement to see what, so we won't bother with that. We did do.
So I think we filled up the schedule.
All right, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 4. I got 6 items, and, you know,
Some of those won't work out.
yeah, and other things will come up that we might. do. But all right, I appreciate the fact that you guys are helping me this, and I'll start the ball rolling, I'll get this going. Okay,
That was a good presentation.
okay, thank you so much, everybody. Yes, and please, if you can, invite your communities to, I'm gonna send out a preliminary agenda tomorrow with Kathy Smith's meeting, and so the lawyer will be there. Please circulate among the communities, encourage people to attend, whether virtually or in person.
Jeff, I will personally ask our HOA president.
Okay. So who's he? Jay?
Someone want me to talk to Cass.
I want to talk to
Good idea. We will defend also thank you.
You know, it's funny, we supported all those folks in the Bull Run HOA community for so long, and they just disregarded us. I mean, we have, a year and a half, they were here every week, going, bang, 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 bang. Now it's free on the sale.
I mean, Mark died and Judith moved away.
Well, I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the ones that, what's the HOA? Pleasant Valley, that's it.
Oh,
Pleasant Valley, you know, because they were here, raising money and.
yeah. Well, you know, a crisis brings people out.
Did anybody, I was, sorry. Terrible.
Yeah, we saw her. We, yeah, like I think she should address that.
She was at a past presidents of the Federation meeting in December. She was on the line.
She has
We were
good
all
days
Zoom.
and bad days.
So we spoke to her. Okay, ladies and guys, thank you so much for coming. Let's see you in 9 days.
Let's go and watch the football.
See who's winning.
Recycling